I was at the comic shop today to pick up a couple of my books. And as I usually do, I looked through the new release shelf, Marvel books, just to kind of see what's going on out there. Had a peek in on Doctor Strange and some other characters. And I was flipping through, I think it was a book called Gods, possibly. The cover kind of caught my eye. And in it was a one-page dedication to Jeffrey Veregge. So right off the bat in this video, I'm going to apologize for any mispronunciations or ignorance on my part when it comes to him and his art, him as an artist. I don't know a ton about him. I found some basic information on him online, but I just wanted to show off his art. It turns out he passed away April, what was it? April 17th, I think, April 12th of this year. So Marvel had, I'm assuming it ran in a few of their titles. They had kind of a little memorial to him, I guess, in the pages of at least that book anyway, and showed off some of his art. I don't remember how I first discovered Jeffrey's art, probably on one of the covers. I know there was a brief window of time where his art was really kind of making the rounds, and he seemed to be one of those artists that you either loved or you hated, or at least that was my experience when I would kind of tune into some shows. There was a lot of people that just didn't like his style. As it is with art, it's going to appeal to different people. I was completely taken by it. I loved it right off the bat, and I kind of made it a mission for for a few days there to try to track down as many of his covers as I could. Now, this is where some of my own information might be a little off. As far as I understand it, he didn't do very many interiors for Marvel. He did have a hand in this Marvel Indigenous Voices book, which I've got two covers here. I couldn't resist the David Mack cover. It looked just too amazing. He does do a little two-pager here to kind of kick it off, a story about the Watcher. So there's kind of a good example of what we're dealing with here. So let me just refer to my notes. Salish, are they the Salish people, I believe? He was born in March 1974. He was a part of the Port Gamble band of Sklallam Indians. His work, which blended traditional Coast Salish aesthetics and pop culture references into what he called Salish geek style. He was featured in exhibitions at the George Gustav Hay Center, the IAIA Museum of Contemporary Native Arts, and the Center on Contemporary Art. So, yeah, it looks like he also had Squamish and Duwamish heritage through his mother's side of the family. Yeah, spent a lot of his time in Washington, it looks like here, and studied at the Art Institute of Seattle. So he had a career outside of comics, found his way into comics. There's a little write up at the back of this book by a couple of the people who kind of helped put this together. I'm unsure if Jeffrey had a hand in kind of getting this book done as well. It seems to be the case when I find information online, but nowhere in the book is it actually credited. Blanking on the people's names who do the write up at the back here. See if I can get to it. Taboo and B. Earl. So this is from 2020. This Indigenous Voices one shot. I think it was just a one shot anyway. And they kind of talk about how they first met him and how they responded to his style. He was going to be doing a cover new series from Taboo and B. Earl. Kushala was the Sorcerer Supreme and the Ghost Rider of the mid 1800s. So he was doing a cover for that, which I have right here. Again, no interior art, just cover art on this one. But you just get a really good sense of his art style. So I thought we'd just look through the covers. He did a series of, I think Marvel commissioned him for a series of 8 different covers. And then I think he also did some covers beyond that. So yeah, too many of these lately, it feels like, in all facets of my world. But let's take a look and remember Mr. Jeffrey Veregge. Um, Miles Morales, Spider-Man. I think this one wasn't associated. I believe it was these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I think it was this stack here that Marvel commissioned him to do. And then, like I said, he did a couple of other things. So this was, I believe this one was after his original kind of work with Marvel. I think Valiant and DC maybe contacted him as well too. And from what I was reading, he was working on his own character, his own comic book as well. I'm going to do a search later on to see if I can find a copy of it out there. So here's kind of the stuff that really blew me away. Um, Amazing style, amazing coloring, very, very graphic. These books jump off the shelf at you. So beautiful, beautiful artist. I haven't seen any of his more fine art, but again, I'm sure a search online will reveal all sorts of things. Yeah, I wish I knew more about him. This was kind of, this dive into these covers was as far as I went with his comics work at that time. Like I said, yeah, so it's the Watcher piece at the front of this as well. Oh, are these all? I see. Okay, so these are all Indigenous voices. Number one, I thought these were now other titles, but it looks like, yeah, here we are. Here we are. So Widowmaker. So these are now other titles. So I guess he did another cover. Yeah. So it has the covers on the back, or it has the titles rather on the back of what books they're from. There's his Black Widow. His Iron Man. Beautiful. There's his Hulk. The Immortal Hulk. Issue number 40. Captain America. Black Panther. Cool cover. Really great. And last but certainly not least, his Thor cover. So there's a look at Jeffrey Veregge. Again, apologies for any of the mispronunciations. Forgive my ignorance. Check him out online. Do a dig. If you have some of his work, take some time tonight or tomorrow and just pull it out and have a look through his incredible artwork. Right on. Thanks very much, everybody.